Transformers 1. It's not here. It might be here by the time this video comes out. It probably will be, actually, or close to it. So I thought I'd get an actual timely review done. This is Studio Series 1 Optimus Prime. The major problem people have with the alt mode is the fists. And I don't like exposed, robot mode kibble in vehicle mode. But this isn't like, the Kingdom Magnus mold where the fists are completely, stupidly obvious. They blend in and hide well enough for me, at least, to not really see them or notice them. As for the truck design, it's cool. It's a Cybertronian truck, but it's got the two wheels in the back, the one wheel up front. Like, it's very primey, but it's just like, I wish they had done something different, like Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron did, or he's Cybertronian. He doesn't have to look like a truck, like make him look like whatever you want to. Make him a boat or a helicopter, or heck, I just wish they were a bit more creative with it. But for what it is, it looks great. It has storage for everything he comes with, which I love. You can have the exhaust facing backwards, take them off. You can have them facing forward like they're guns or flamethrowers. These other guns are there. I assume they're deployable guns because you can take them off to have a bit more flat and cleaner looking, more utilitarian truck. Same for the Energon X, which does also, it just stores in between his knee pads and kind of hooks in right here and take it off, and it's, there you go. It's more bare bones truck. Yes, the feet stick out of the rear, but again, this isn't trying to follow the proportions of a real life truck perfectly, so it's fine, to me. And I know it's hollow-ish. Not only hollow, it's gappy, but again, it's alien. There's no rule that it says it has to look at all like a cohesive Earth vehicle, because it's not an Earth vehicle. So I'm very forgiving of Cybertronian modes. At least ones that are more interesting than, a brick like Soundwave turns into most of the time. So let's just go on to transformation. Transformation is pretty neat. Again, the rear half, it's just prime transformation. But the front half does some new things. So first off, most of the transformation is you unpeg these things, and then you have to work on getting the fists unpegged. They are, like, stupidly tight. Even though the pegs are extra short, you feel like you're gonna rip something, especially because the way the fists peg on, it's like you're pulling against the mushroom peg. So like at some point, I'm afraid that the arm, the fist are gonna detach, and the fist is gonna stay attached to the short peg. Then you just fold these things down, fold up the feet, and bring them down, and then bring this thing down. You'll rotate this, and then you have got the arms, bring the top up, split the arms out from the main body, fold them up. It's really cool how the arms like extend to cover a lot more area, and then just kind of accordion in. Fold the grill in as is normal on Prime, and then rotate and fold the backpack, get the head up, and there is Prime. Now let's talk about it. He looks cool. He's Cybertronian, but he's still recognizable as Prime. I like how he has the Orion Pack style, full chest window, because it's still a very young Prime, and same with the head sculpt. It's more rounded and not as defined and angular as his becomes, because he's young, and he's just become Optimus Prime. The backpack, it's Cybertronian, it doesn't bug me that much. It's not pinned in place. You can remove it if you really want to, but arguably it doesn't look any better or worse. It doesn't like to fold down the way for me, which is a bit of a problem. He's got a waist rotation and butterfly joints. His arms don't like to stay straight because these little tabs for the grill kind of bump into these gray pieces, which means his arms, like, you can't have them at a perfect 90-90. They're either, if they're 90 degrees in line like this, they're facing, forward a bit, or they're facing, forward. The butt joints come into effect, if that makes sense. Head sculpt is great. It's a really good transitional, like, this is definitely an in-between, like, puberty Prime, basically. And he can look all the way up thanks to this joint, and it doesn't swoop into place. It kind of rocks back and forth, but it's got tons of motion because the ball joint's at the very back of the head, which doesn't mean that, unfortunately, you can't look down that much. The smokestacks can come off and they can be guns if you want to. These things, I thought they were going to look stupid kind of inside the legs, but I tried to move them back around, and to me it bulks the legs up too much on the outside, and I prefer the way that they look inside, but to each their own. For articulation, you might think the diaper gets in the way, but it doesn't. It's designed not to. It's on this hinge, which it comes off very easy. Be careful with that. But as you bring the leg forward for a kick, it'll raise up, so it gets out of the way. And in most poses, it doesn't look too bad. If you make it go too high, he kind of looks squished. And because of how easy it is to come off, I realized I actually like this. I like this a lot better proportion-wise. Like, I've come to like this look a lot better. This is how I display him. Again, I know maybe you don't like it, but it looks like he's designed like that. It doesn't look like he's missing anything. But I'll throw in poses with both so you can decide what you want. The little guns in the front, they can't do anything. They can't attach in robot mode whatsoever, except for a little storage point in the back, which is weird. You've got these tiny tabs that these tiny little slots will go into, and there's these notches that these tabs are supposed to go into, but they don't have any friction whatsoever, so this doesn't do anything, and it's very extremely loose. Like, you can breathe wrong and this thing will fall off. You put it down his back, and because of how loose it is, you can't operate the waist joint whatsoever without it just falling down. So I just leave it off the side as well. The Energon axe pegs onto his wrist, as is, per usual now, and it looks good. I wish that it was flipped, though, because I would normally display it like this, where you see the big Energon globe, but the front of the axe is facing backwards now, so you have to turn it, and then instead of the Energon, you see the fist, which is, I wish it was just rotate it in the middle. This little thing will flip up, which it doesn't have any purpose, it just does. But then all this flips up, and you have the Matrix. This is that they got the Matrix right. His slots on his fists, and you can peg the Matrix in, and he can hold it. It doesn't look perfect, but it's a better solution than what they've done so far. Personally, I've always thought, Matrix chambers on figures, they're always, they've got so much room. The Matrix can always be bigger. So, I honestly think that they should keep the articulated fingers and just make a bigger Matrix. Again, for the deluxe, this is a perfect good solution. But for more higher end, especially Studio Series figures or leaders and commanders, I think a bigger Matrix that you could actually hold would be a nice solution. Just make it a tiny bit bigger. And this isn't Blast Effect compatible either, but you can just put the Blast Effects on there. The guns are Blast Effect compatible-ish, but they spread them out a bit. And for some reason, the smokestacks, the flamethrowers, aren't Blast Effect compatible, which is a big miss. But the top of the Energon axe is? Okay. As for the colors, I actually like them. It fits the aesthetic, I think, and they are faded looking, and there's a joke that Hasbro pre-yellowed it because they knew it was going to yellow anyway, which is probably the truth. But it also fits the, Cybertronians are, super old, and, they live for millions and millions of years. So, even Prime has got to be a couple thousand years old by the time he becomes Prime. So, it makes sense that his body would be kind of not weathered or worn, but it would show its age. He's not perfectly brand new. At least that's my opinion. So yeah, I really like this figure. I'm looking forward to Megatron. There's not much else I can say, but he's a really nice deluxe, because yeah, he's $25 as opposed to $20, but he has so many accessories you can do so much with. He's great. He's fun to pose. He looks dynamic in almost any situation, especially if you take that diaper off. Yeah, not much else I can say. One thing I will say, though, is that all the accessories come together in a pack at the rear of the box, wrapped up in the tissue paper. I wish they sold this tissue paper for, presents, stuff like that. Have you seen how expensive wrapping paper for Transformers is nowadays? Why isn't Transformers as big as Star Wars and Star Trek anymore? It used to be everywhere. You could buy Transformers party favors, Transformers coloring books, Transformers wrapping paper, Transformers tissue paper, Transformers napkins, plates. You can't find that anymore. What if I want to have a Transformers party for myself? Or why do I want Transformers Christmas paper? Why? Anyway, yeah, The way these are packaged without the plastic windows, I was gonna buy one of these earlier when they first came out in my local area, but there was only one, and I opened up his chest panel, and the Matrix wasn't there. So my thought was, oh, somebody stole the Matrix, and I passed on him. Then, when I came back to Walmart, there was a ton more Optimuses there, and I checked, and every single one had the Matrix gone. And that was when it clicked, like, oh, wait, they probably knew it would get stolen, so it's hidden in the back, just like the smokestacks. So yeah, that's a funny story related to this guy. So yeah, there you go. There's my opinion for what it's worth.